What's going on, guys? So this is Nabil Hussein. I am formally giving you a little tour of my mother's childhood home. I asked her for some help on what it looked like, and well, a lot of help actually, of course, because there was no pictures of it. So I went primarily based off of pictures of the house in the background. It was not painted. It had a roof, and the new roof was underneath the old roof. It had a little bench there, stuff like that. I'm gonna pass over the voice to her. I have this like mechanical endoscope or whatever it's called. That I asked her to kind of give me a little tour using that camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and have her do that. And one thing I do want to say about the way I designed this replica is the windows in the front were not so close together. It was actually much further apart, but because of space-wise and the way the windows themselves were designed, I couldn't do it. So this was probably the only inaccurate part of the house. But other than that, it did have, I believe, 7 windows. It had a bottom house with a little room, as you can see there. And of course that side step. It was a rectangle house originally. This is the original side step of the house when it was a rectangle. This whole front half from here basically, it came on afterwards around maybe 1975. But I'm gonna give you another clip as well of the beginning of the house and stuff like that. To hold on.
This is the front step. This is the stairs. You're going up the stairs. This is the platform, and then this is inside the house. When you go inside the house, this is the rocking chair is over in the corner here. That's
The left side.
The little left side is. And then that's used to be the mommy machine bin, and behind the door is the next window there, and then they had a little china cabinet over there. And when you go in the house, this is the bedroom, my mommy and daddy bedroom over here. And this used to be a dresser over here, a bed over there, a window over there, and this used to be the kitchen over here. And this is where the sink used to be by this window here, and then the little cupboard used to be here.
Oh, you're holding the camera too close.
And then the table used to be, another table used to be over here. This is the back door. That's a little sink used to be there, and then wee room used to be the back here. A bed used to be here that me and my dad built. And then another ground bed used to be over here. That's a window there. It's a window up here. And that's about it. There's a little fridge here.
Where was the stove?
The stove used to be over in this corner here. And that was the back door there. That's it.
Where was the bench?
The bench used to be at the table over here. The table and the bench.
Right near the door?
That's it.
And there was a little table right on the left side of the china cabinet.
Yeah, the table used to be here with mommy's sewing machine used to be
No,
there.
at the stud wall. There's a little square table. Remember?
Yeah, that's a chair used to be here.
Oh. And then there was a sofa on the right side. As soon as you come in, you're gonna see it on the right side.
A chair used to be here. A couple chairs used to be at this side. And that's it. And this is the back step here. You go up here. There's a window there. There's a back door over here. used to have a big cashew tree on the right side, a mango tree. There used to be a mango tree on the back behind the house. Mango tree used to be in front. Two mango trees used to be in front of the house. And that's about it.
And who used to live down there?
Downstairs, my father, auntie used to live down here.
And who used to live with her?
Her husband used to live with her.
And how long did they live there?
Like 3-4 years. I can't remember exactly. We used to have a hammock underneath here.
Which part? In front of the door or on the other side?
Over this side here.
The left side.
Yeah, that's about it.
So it all starts in 1961, when my grandparents got married. They first rented a place on Station Street, and then around 1967 they moved to my great-grandfather's middle house, or Rajkumar. After his house was demolished, Middle's house, then my grandfather Mohan and his big brother's Tiger's house was built in the middle parts of the lot. And while the small brother Bakman, he lived off of Sandy Bob Street, and an Afro-Guyanese family lived in front of where this house, the current design, or one before it was broken down. In the front here, there was, well, like maybe 100-200 feet was an Afro-Guyanese that lived right off of Shell Road, and then there was a passageway, so that that allowed them to go onto the street side, that I'll show you in the drone footage that I took, the drone photo. Like I mentioned in the previous clip, it was a rectangle building. It measured 10 feet by 20. And then in 1975, that extension was done after my grandfather had an accident while working as a porter at the John Fernandez Wharf. He used the compensation he received to extend the house, and he added on this second half of the house here. This whole piece came on after, and then it became a square structure, 20 feet by 20. And then sometime afterwards, he built a little room, which is that room there, using wood that his little sister Rita had from when she converted her house to concrete. And then after my grandfather moved away, his maternal aunt, Chameli or Chim Chim or Khan, whatever her name was, she moved with her husband in that little room that you can see in there. He had a window, a little kitchen, stuff like that, a little room. And then they stayed for a couple years, and then they kind of moved after my mother and her family immigrated to America. My uncle lived in the house a little bit after my mother and then moved away. And then eventually my grandmother sold the house to her cousin in 1995. And then the following year, he demolished the building to construct a warehouse. Unfortunately, there's no pictures of the house itself. And since I knew nothing about drawing myself, I took a chance by using the pictures and my mother and my aunt's, my grandmother's recollections of the house. Excuse me. And then I was able to construct it. I bought an assortment of different types of what's considered craft wood, primarily from Amazon. I do wish the doors and windows were made smaller, because in the front, again, like I mentioned, the two windows in the front were much further apart and not right there, not so close. And then, like I said, coming to the main point of the video, my mother's gonna go ahead and give a little tour of the house while I will use the endoscope to kind of give you a more interpersonal view. So as you can see in this photo, you see Kitty Masjid. You see that big long building, like to the back right, I guess. That big grayish roof is that's where the warehouse is. In front of the warehouse is my grandfather's brother's house. No one lives there currently. In the front of that little house is my other grandfather's brother's house. Buckman's house is still there as well. I believe his son lives there. That house behind the gray building is where the Afro-Guyanese family lived. As you can see, there's no access point to the masjid itself, so they had to basically walk around all the way. to get to the marsh, and that big white patch there, like a triangle where all those cars are parked, that's where the railway line was. So the house, those front stairs that where the grill was in the front at the bottom part of the stairs, that was facing towards Shell Road, and the back of the house was facing my grandfather's brother Tiger's house. So that front step with the gate in front of it, that pathway that you're gonna see in another picture, that leads to this pathway here, as you can see there, and then behind my uncle there, is where the cow pen was when my great grandfather used to have cattle, and then eventually as time went by, that there was like a little structure there that served as a roof for them, that eventually started breaking apart, and there was a tree that my aunt remembered. There was I don't remember what kind of tree it was. I think it was a seam tree, and she would climb on top of the zinc to try to get the seam, and then she had to be very careful where she stepped, or she would break through the roof, because it was, again, the whole structure was falling apart, and which eventually it did. But as you can see there in the gate, that was basically the front gate for the thing, and then to the right side there where that bicycle is, I think that leads down to a pathway that I'll show you in another photo. And then they used to plant stuff there in that grass, like okra, bhaji and stuff like that, and they used to plant at the sides of the house. So this is the china cabinet in the back there. That was my mother was mentioning. As you come in the door, you're gonna see that in the back right, right next to the stud wall. The stud wall is on the left there. There's a little chair there with the vase. So this chair here was to the left. I want to say there was two chairs to the left as you come in. That what my mother mentioned, when you come in through the doorway, you're gonna see two chairs to your left, and there was like a rocking chair and stuff like that. And then this is right in front. See how I designed the gate, kind of looking like that, and that little triangle angled wood there. This is the left side of the house. As you can see here, that pathway leads to the front of the house, that path going on to the right there. And then that little wood area, that little roof there, that was like a little zinc roof. The whole area that little area had a zinc. That was kind of like the little shower, I guess you can say. And it had the pipe before there was running water in the house. There was running water down there. My aunt, she used to have to bring the dishes from upstairs to wash the dishes there, and they used to bathe with bucket, basically. This is the pathway, like I was mentioning in the first photo. That pathway leads down here, and then it goes straight down to Shell Road. So in this picture, you can see the passageway there. Going towards the right hand of this picture is Shell Road. And then through that gate there, you can kind of see the house, actually. I never really realized that. That's the house in the background back there. And then this zinc roof here is where the cow pen was. So this was the little wall that's between the two doorways. You see on the back of the photo there, and then where that wooden chair is, on the left of that chair is the doorway to my grandparents' room. And then this is a little stereo, and then you see at the back there was the fridge. This is one of the things that are last remaining from the house that my grandmother has, and it's of the three famous masjids. Actually, no, of three masjids. I don't think the middle one is a famous one. I think that looks, could be wrong, but it looks like the one in Turkey, I think. Or, yeah, it could be Turkey. The left one there looks like the Prophet's Mosque. This is going up. This is at the stairs of the front. There's a little bench that's behind there. And as you can see, how the windows are designed. It's not exactly to scale, but in terms of the replica that I had, and see how the roof extended overwards. It did have a little slant, as you can see in the design of it, that to allow water to fall off. As you can see here in this photo, there's a bathroom at the back right there. Not like a bathroom, but like a latrine, I guess, an outhouse kind of thing. This is another picture here. That little footstool there with the cushion. There's pictures of like Bollywood actors. The fridge there. Another picture of the front of the house. That stairway. See the masjid there? And this is where my mom's house was. Now it's the warehouse. So unfortunately, I don't have any videos or anything like that of the process. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just kind of getting a little frustrated with how the house was going and kind of wanted it just to be finished. But I did try to follow my best to scale. It took a few weeks. I had to buy quite a few sets of wood, different sizes, assortment sizes of wood. I bought a few tools like brand nails, a brand nailer. The glue that I bought was like a special craft glue, so it was pretty strong. Once it set, it took about a day or two to set properly, and when it set, it was really strong. So that was something I admired, way stronger than school glue. I was no stranger to building with popsicle sticks and stuff like that in the past. I actually tried to build a house, a replica of my mother's house before, but I didn't do it nearly as well this time because I used more than just regular popsicle sticks. I bought special types of wood and windows and doors for this project, and it took quite a while, a lot of input from my mother, of course, again without her memory, her recollections, my grandmother's recollections, my aunt's recollections, the pictures. This project would not have been as great as it was. I had to watch a lot of videos and stuff like that of framing, especially when it came to the roof, because I didn't really know how to frame a roof, frame the walls, and then of course the wood paneling, the popsicle sticks covered up all the imperfections and whatnot, and it ended up coming out really solid, alhamdulillah, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I'll see you guys in the next one.